Surfers match.
Yep. Today we're playing Australia Kangaroos. They're a pretty strong team. They're at the top of. They're at fourth in our league right now, and our league is very competitive. We have 5 people vying for 4 spots, and that we have 3 people with 5.5 right now, 1 person with 5, and 1 person with 4.5. Anything could really happen in the next couple of weeks. So these matches really matter. Australia's a really strong team. They have several top players, and I am on board 4. Today we're hosting our 3 top performing players, Dreyev, Samuel Sevian, John Bryant, and we're bringing in a new young, hungry for blood, Siddharth.
Sid the Squid Bannock is what we call him.
Bannock. Mm-hmm.
He goes by the Squid. So yeah, we're bringing in a new player. He hasn't played for us, but he's a very capable player. He's played in the league before and done well, and he's beaten a lot of good players over the board. So we're hoping that Sid can have a really good night for us tonight. And he's surrounded by some great players, Dreyev and Sevian on the top 2 boards, and then John Bryant's doing this thing. So I like our team tonight.
Yeah, me too. I think that we have a really good chance. But then again, they are a very strong team, so we'll just see how it goes.
They're a strong team. It should be a good match. So like you said, we're half a point ahead of them in the standings. Now, if we win tonight, Albert, we're in the playoffs. We guarantee that.
Absolutely.
With a win.
Mm-hmm.
So, should be an exciting night.
And we help out our friends up in NorCal if we get the win as well, the San Jose Hackers.
That's right. We play them next week.
Mm-hmm. And right now, San Jose has 4.5. But they have the second most amount of game points. So they have a very high tiebreak score. And if they catch up to either any of the 5.5s or any of the 5s, then we could have like a very interesting playoff race going on next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just as soon not be a part of that race. We would like to be in the playoffs next week, just basically fighting for a number 1 seed. Mm-hmm. And the games are off.
Yep.
Hey.
Hey, who's this?
It's me, Josh. From what I understand, you guys haven't started the games, right? So I'll stay in chat for a little bit.
We just started.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. But say hi to our fans, Josh.
Hi everyone. So today we are back at it again with the live commentary from the King Albert Lou and the King Keaton. So basically, we were playing against.
We did already do the introduction, Josh.
Yeah. All right.
Can you find Sid's game?
So can I find Sid's game?
I can't see
No, it seems like it hasn't started.
If it helps,
We've got some connection problems.
Yeah. Fortunately, this time it doesn't seem to be my end.
If it helps you, his name is Sid Budo on Trust.com.
Yeah, I couldn't find his game.
Yeah, I can try it.
Can you see it? I'm not entirely sure where it is.
I don't see his game.
He has not started, no.
Alright, hopefully it's his opponent's end.
He's on, though, so maybe his opponent's not on?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Australians, who knows what's going on with them. Sam's game hasn't started yet either, so that's a good sign.
His opponent's time is ticking.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
So we have some... I actually am not entirely sure what's going on in John Bryant's game. Black has a solid structure in the middle, but White's got some pretty dynamic play on the king side in the future, so we could see something interesting there.
He's got John thinking. Was this a French?
I'm not 100% sure.
It's a French with like knight d2, c5, knight gf3, cd4, knight d4, knight c6. But
I see.
anyway, so I'll just leave in a quick word that I like White's position here, usually with Queen E2 and C4, and with that, I'll probably dip on out of here. So yeah.
C4
All
does seem
right,
like a
thanks,
really good
Josh.
idea, actually. Thank you, Josh. Drave looks like it's shaping up to be an IQP. But in this case, it looks like Black has the opportunity of getting in an early D4 maybe, which is always an idea in these positions, and that always ensures equality. So we could see that. Also, it's not particularly an IQP isn't particularly dangerous when all 4 minor pieces are on the board, and it usually leads to like a relatively equal position. Because Black just has so much dynamic play because of an extra pawn in the center. So that's just going to be an interesting game. And Drave's a very strong positional player, and it's just a purely positional game. So we can see something interesting out of that. So John seems to know this position. Queen E2, C4. Maybe his time deficiency was from internet issues. Hopefully. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, not hopefully, because
I don't think so. I think he was thinking. Because he thought for a while.
Yeah, I guess, but this isn't a very good, easy idea to see, so it's good that...
Yeah, C4 is interesting. Well, he's playing the player who's really seems to be the heart and soul of their team, Grandmaster Anton Smirnov. I think he's played a lot of games for them. From what I understand, he's a young Grandmaster who's been one of their strongest players this season. So this is quite an important game.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. He's pretty well known. But hopefully we can get a couple wins on the board against him and just show them that we don't get intimidated by other people.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have to send the message early. That's a really good point. Now, Albert, we're going to be joined at the conclusion of the first round by our sponsor, Udo Hergis, for a few minutes. He's going to come on.
Great.
Now, Tan Zhongyi has played the Modern against Sid.
Is that the women's world champion?
Well, I'm not sure if she's a world champion, but I know she is a woman who's a grandmaster. Is she a world champion? I hadn't heard that.
I think so. Yeah, she's the current women's world chess champion, winning over Ju Wenjun, I think.
Oh, wow. What an honor to be playing against her.
Yeah, great player. And she won on Rapids, so she's clearly a pretty strong blitz player. And this is a pretty dynamic position out of the opening, so we could see some fireworks out of the opening.
She must be very strong if she beat Ju Wenjun. That's a very strong play. Of course, we played against Ju Wenjun earlier in the season. She plays for...
we played against her team. I don't think we played against her specifically, though.
Oh, that's right. She wasn't playing that match. Good memory. Yeah.
So, not many villains around across the boards. Drave's position is looking to be pretty equal, just because all the pawn structure is balanced. Like, development's pretty good. Usually, if I was Black, I'd like to get the bishop on c6, even though it looks very poor there. It defends b7, which is usually very weak, and it defends e4, which is a very strong position for the knight. So,
now, when I was looking at the games of these Australian players, I noticed that this international master Timur, I'll try my best, Koibaykarov, he's a very aggressive player, and this particular game with Dreyev could be a tough matchup for him because Dreyev's solidarity usually really bothers aggressive players.
That's true.
He gives them a tough time.
And Dreyev's no slouch in tactics either. We've seen him pull off some miracles.
Not at all. His second round game of Super Saturday against the London Lions, he just took this international master to school with Black. He beat him in like 15 moves, didn't he?
Yeah. Pretty incredible player. Siddharth seems to have another equal position as well, just because of the pawn structure in the middle. Looks like White has
seems like a very comfortable position.
Yeah, but I think it's a little superficial because c6, b5, and becomes pretty or b5 in the future because it doesn't work right now, and it becomes, I think, pretty level.
Now, one thing that I was telling Sid before he played is that these players are going to be very desperate to try to beat him because his rating for the purposes of this match is like 50 FIDE. And I think his actual strength is much greater than that. But on paper, he really looks like the weak link of our team. So I think the Australian players are going to have the mentality that they have to beat him or else it's really a huge failure.
Sam just played a very interesting gamble.
I expect them to play very aggressive against him. I'm sorry, who'd you say gambled?
Sam. Because usually against g5, knight takes g5 is a very interesting idea.
But Molten Lai didn't play for that.
Yeah, so he clearly is afraid of something. Not entirely sure what it is. Because usually it's like not clear that, I mean, white doesn't have like instant compensation, but over time it just gets very difficult for black to play just because the pin is very strong on f6. I don't know, but now black has like a very strong position because the bishop on g3 is awful. It's pretty much just a dead piece. And he has ideas of knight getting on f4 where white's like long trek of like rook e1, knight f1, knight e3, knight f5 is not nearly as potent. So,
I would also say that sacrifice is not really the style of Molten Lai. I've played him quite a bit on ICC and Blitz, and he strikes me as a very solid player. He likes to kind of, play for endgames or play solid strategically and wait for his opponent's mistakes. He's not really the kind of player who would sacrifice unless he's really confident in the sacrifice.
It just feels like a positional concession, though.
Yeah, I mean, Sam's position seems good, and Sam's a long-time e5 player, so he should have something he's very comfortable with.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is good for us. What do you think of John's game, the king on f1? What do you think's going on there?
I think John really understands this position right now because nothing's going to happen to his king. None of black's pieces are placed properly to attack anything, pretty much. And he's moving his king because he wants to preserve his space advantage by not trading off any pieces. And he's just trying to slowly kick back all of black's pieces until he's getting suffocated. And I think Smirnov is starting to realize that because he's really draining time right now because his position is getting very difficult. His knight has no good squares, and the only good square for it to go to is to move his bishop, which wastes time, and his bishop also has no good squares to go to as of right now. So black's in a lot of trouble, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if white gets to play h5, that's going to be very unpleasant for black, and he's not going to be able to castle over there.
Yeah. What do you think about black playing? IS taking is possible. Taking an e5? No, that's too weird. It drops e5 after h5. I was thinking black...
c4. He did trade on c4. What's he playing for there?
I have no idea. That's pretty big positional concession. I think he's just trying to keep the center closed, and I think he might play h5 soon.
It seems strange.
Yeah.
He could play h5, but then the g5 and g6 squares become weaker.
Yeah, gives up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to really like John's position.
Yeah, because h5, white can play something like e5, and then bishop d3 comes in soon as well. And then it just starts looking very, very bad for black.
Now, Michael Brown noted that he thinks that Sid is the lowest rated player ever to play for the Surfers, and I think he might be right. Because we're known for having very bottom-heavy lineups. That's been really the key to our success. And let me remind you guys, in 2 seasons, this Surfers team has only lost to one other team, and that's to St. Louis, which has been one of the most dominant teams in the league by the narrowest of margins. So this is a team that's just been ultra solid, and one of the biggest keys has been really strong board 4s. We usually don't play anyone weaker than IM level on board 4, so we have a little bit different approach this match where we're giving up some points on board 4, but we're compensating on the top 2 boards, having 2 2,600 plus GMs in Andreev and Sevian.
Yeah, so this match is a little bit new for us, but it looks like Sid's doing pretty well so far in his first game. He has a
It was a
slightly
very
better position,
comfortable
I think.
position.
Yeah, because Black's bishop is terrible. White's is just better because it controls the d file, and if I think a good setup for Siddharth, he needs to get his like pawn to b3, pawn to a5, and then start playing on
Yes.
the d file. Uh, and then because Black can't contest on the d file because the other rook can't get to d8, so I think that he does have a slightly better position right now, and he's in very low risk of losing.
He's showing some great positional strength. Now, I've always known that Sid is a very strong calculator and he's good in dynamic position. So if he can play strong positionally as well, I think it's going to be a very good night for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I've played a Sid a couple of times, and it usually seems like I can get a pretty good position, but he just finds tricks everywhere, and it's just really hard to push through.
He's a very talented player. He beat me the only time we played in a tournament game. He did a sacrifice where if I accepted it, it would have been a draw by perpetual. But I was ambitious to try to win, and I played for a win, which was probably a mistake. And he ended up playing really well and beating me. And I'm hoping that's the same thing that'll happen in a lot of these games because I think these players are going to be very desperate to try to beat him, and maybe he can use that to his advantage.
Yep. Looks like we missed that, and Smirnov can simply capture on h4.
Yeah, but I don't know. Now John has the open H file.
Yeah, I guess it definitely was his best possibility because otherwise, he just has absolutely nothing for a worse position. Now he has a pawn, but White definitely has long-term compensation. Like for example, Black can't castle right now. Queen h5 is too strong. Pretty much wins the game instantly.
Yeah.
And he's got to waste a little bit of time moving his bishop back. And John's just looking to see where he can put his bishop. Like c5 is a really strong square to stop castling. D4 is a really strong square to attack d4, and there's just a lot of compensation for John.
The position is very hard to play for Black. I would certainly choose White here. John's also starting to pick up the speed and put Anton in a little bit of time pressure.
Yeah, castling is still dangerous because Queen h5 is still a threat, and the only response h6 is met by a sacrifice, which is very difficult to respond to.
Yeah, looks almost winning.
Yeah, so Black seems to be slightly running out of moves.
What do you think of Dreyev's game? It still looks very level to me.
Personally, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. Actually, no, Andreev has the c6 square, which is always good. The only reason I ever feel uncomfortable is because White has the idea of knight b6, which cuts off, and the knight on b6 and the very strong bishop on the London diagonal usually combine to cover a lot of squares. That's usually pretty dangerous for Black, but because he has the c6 square, it could mean that it's not as bad as it seems.
Yeah, I suppose he can play knight d7 if he needs to, or he can trade off all the rooks and he wouldn't have too many targets, but then it would certainly be hard for him to play for a win.
Yeah, I do like knight d7 in this position. I think that he could do pretty well with knight d7. An interesting idea for White after knight d7 is that he can block off the file with bishop c7 and then start doubling his rooks, and then reopen once he's doubled up because Black can't respond by doubling. So that could come into play. I think that might be why Dreyev's still considering it. And knight e4 is also
Oh
interesting.
my, he's played knight e4.
Yeah, to get to the d6 square and get rid of the London bishop as well.
Okay, he's going for it.
So do you think he's going to respond to knight c6 with rook c6 or rook takes c1?
Probably rook c6. It seems like he's playing for activity, so I don't think he wants to surrender the c file. Because if rook c6 and he trades off, then he can always play for c5 later. And the knight on b6 might be a little bit misplaced because it won't really have any targets.
Yeah, I'm just looking at knight b6, rook c6 right now. Rook c6, takes, and then White plays rook c1 with the idea that if Black plays c5, he can take on d5. Oh, but White has a tactic. Black has a tactic that after rook c1, c5 takes on e4, and then takes on c5. Black can take back and has back rank threats. So
Yeah, that's one difference in this position is Dreyev has a safe back rank, whereas White doesn't.
Hmm.
So hopefully that can come into play and be in our favor.
Yeah, that's always a very interesting possibility. And if White and like this is a game of tempo right now because White has bad pawn structure, so he's got to get something going. And if he does do luff with something like h3, Dreyev can counter with something like bishop d6. Or I'm not sure about bishop d6 in this position because it allows knight c5, but maybe something even like bishop g5 could be interesting.
Now, in Sam's game, I've noticed that Sam now has the two bishops and also seems to have a lot of chances for attacking on the king side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that Sam's always going to have advantage just because it's pretty much like a dream position. He's got very little that's like not going for him. Like his ideas, a very like potent one right now is like knight g6, knight h4. He can also just move his king out of the way, start stacking on the g file once he gets f7 defended. It's just like White just makes too many concessions by giving up, by not sacrificing on g5 and allowing this like massive knight on f4. That he's gonna have to pay some positional reparations to get an equal position again.
Very good point. Now, in Sid's game, do you worry at all about Black playing c5 and playing to try to trap White's bishop? Or I guess he has queen b5 on that, probably.
Yeah, c5 is just such a massive concession that I just can't.
Queen b5 should attack many pawns, I think.
Yeah, I can't see it. If it doesn't work like very, very concretely.
Yeah, and if Black can't play for something like that, I think he's in huge trouble because
Queen
now
d7
that
is
White
coming
controlled c4, he's just going to go queen d7 and just have a very strong advantage.
Mm-hmm. I think that he can even get in f3 possibly, just to even deny the g4 square from the queen and force. Actually, no, queen d7 denies the g4 square. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think queen d7 and then White's gonna have a very close to winning position right there. So Sid's doing very well in his first game so far.
He is off to a great start.
Against the strongest player on their team as well, so.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it seems like John has some real attacking chances now. He's gotten the queen to h5. The Black king is stuck on f8. White needs to find some way to coordinate his rooks.
Yeah. He could also start throwing pawns at him, like g4, g5 kind of stuff.
Very double-edged, but yeah, he could try it.
Because I think that g4, g5 is like an instant threat because if you take it, then you get the h6 square, and with the h6 square, like a lot of things start falling. Rook h3, interesting because it can double pretty much anywhere. Even doubling on the d file is an interesting idea. I didn't see anything like very concrete with it, so I wasn't entirely sure if it was the best move in this scenario.
I like rook h3 because you have, first of all, Black can't play e5 because queen f7 mate, so there's no tactical idea there, and that rook can come to g3 or f3 or b3 or c3 or d3. A lot of possible ways that rook can try to create some problems in Black's position.
Mm-hmm. One idea Black does have right now is playing bishop e8 and then either bishop f7 or e5 immediately. Bishop e8 and then e5 might have been a tactic that worked in that position. I'm not entirely sure. Wait, no, it didn't work because the rook's no longer attacked. But
That's it.
Yeah. But getting e5 to destroy White's bishop, and then getting in bishop f7 to trade off White's good bishop could be pretty dangerous for White.
Yeah, I mean, White has to be careful that Black doesn't consolidate too much, or else, his extra pawn is finally going to mean something.
Mm-hmm. Do you think queen h6 is the best move in this position right now?
Well, at least it's a tempo move, but it also kind of improves Black's king. Mm-hmm. So I'm not convinced. He could maybe play queen f3, attacking f6, and then try to get the queen somewhere a little more central, like e3. But I think queen h6 is okay. I mean, you're going to have the queen somewhere where it's good for long-term attacking.
Yeah, I like queen h3 because I want to force... Actually, that's not true. I think that E5 is still not an idea because
Yeah, because then if e5, then queen h6. Oh, he
Yeah.
did play queen h3. He
Yeah.
must be listening to the broadcast.
absolutely. Because I really like white throwing pawns at him. I really like the g4 g5 idea right now.
The Dreyev endgame has simplified quite a bit. White has the two bishops, but I feel like it's a position where maybe the two bishops aren't going to matter.
Yeah, they don't mean very much. And I think that we could see a small edge beginning to come for black, even though it looks like he's missing a lot of things, like his pawn structure. I mean, his pawn structure is definitely better because white has an isolated d pawn as well as double pawns in the b file. But he doesn't have the c file. He doesn't have double bishops. But it seems like the c file and double bishops aren't strong enough to ensure like long term.
Whoa. John has just sacrificed on f6, Albert.
Is he? What's his? Oh, he's gonna take on d7. I see.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it wins, like pretty much immediately. Huh? That's a really strong idea. Looks
I mean,
like,
if bishop f6 works, it wins.
yeah. I'm relatively certain that it works. Something like, does king takes f6?
Rook
What does it get moved
d7.
by? Oh, yeah, king takes f6, just rook takes d7, queen takes d6.
Yeah, lights out. Wow.
That's a really strong tactic by John. I didn't even. I was
Very
paying attention.
strong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, easy to miss because there's the illusion that it's protected, that's overprotected, right?
Yeah.
Anytime a pawn or square is overprotected, it's hard to think of it as a target.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dreyev's endgame has fizzled out a bit. Looks equal, but, you know, it's also the kind of position that Dreyev wins sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Do you think if rooks are off the board, black has winning chances?
Chances, yeah. I mean, I doubt if it's enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, yeah, he has the better bishop and he has a little space. So, I mean, he can play.
Yeah. So Sid's getting in some really strong play. His threat is bishop h6 right now. And if he gets in bishop h6, then black's position starts falling apart. Because white pretty much just has two pieces against one right now. Or if he trades in bishops, and also in major piece endgames right now, the activity of the major pieces is all that matters for the evaluation of the position. So it's looking very good for Sid right now because I don't see a. Other than
I
queen e7,
honestly like our positions on every single board.
Yeah.
I mean, Dreyev has a time advantage, John has a time advantage, and should be a crushing position. Oh, it's completely crushing. I don't know why Smirnov is still playing.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, wow, great win by John. That's huge.
Just destroyed him. Upset win too. That was really good work by John. He sacrificed a pawn earlier in the game, and he found some tactics because he had a lot of compensation, and he just destroyed Smirnov. Big name. We don't care. Dreyev's trying to win. Clearly, I don't see how Dreyev wins, but Dreyev's a better player than me, so we could see him.
He's surprised us many times, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I never know what to expect from him.
And I still like our positions on the other boards. I like Sid's position and Sam's position too. Sam has great attacking chances here.
Yeah. Like, white can mount whatever he wants, but his threats are pretty meaningless so far.
In Sam's game, the white position is very passive.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for white to do much there.
White's playing pretty well though, because
He's hanging in there.
Yeah, like considering the what he had to do earlier, his ideal setup is trading off the knights and then going his bishop on f3, and he thinks that he's going to survive off this position. I'm not entirely sure if he does. I think maybe because black's main idea is to get knight h4, and white wants to respond to that with knight takes h4 and bishop f3, which seems to hold very well. So Sam's just going to need to find an idea to break through I kind of
Yeah, he's going to need to create some long-term chances. This guy, Mothan Ali, is a good blitz player, but he's definitely much stronger when the position is pretty defined. And this position isn't yet defined.
He also has the A file, which is weird. I don't know why Molthon would concede the A file, considering that Black could have some strong opportunities off the third rank, because it attacks the knight as well. And taking the knight with the rook is not really a sacrifice, because the rook right now is not as strong of a piece as the knight. So if he sacks the knight, plays knight h4, he could have a very strong attack going, and that's just very scary for the White King right now.
Now, in Dreyev's game, could there be some tricky idea like king f5 at some moment, and then if rook takes h5, king g6, trapping the rook?
That does work. I don't think that...
But now he's going to want to protect the b pawn, so he'll
Yeah,
probably
he's
go
probably
back
go
rook
back,
b6.
yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so Sid can get to an endgame if he wants to. Do you think he should go ahead and trade the queens?
I think that if he trades the queens, yeah, I mean...
Oh, but wait, he just took
he
a
could
free
have taken
pawn.
the pawn, yeah.
I guess that's even better.
Yeah. c4. You can just take that too. Black can't take back because she's overloaded.
Oh, yeah, good point. So
That's
she would
just a
have
free
to play
pawn.
like rook c6.
Rook c6, rook d7, yeah. Even rook
No,
d7 right
white-
away.
White is much better.
Yeah,
He might just have to start playing a little bit faster.
that's true. Especially because it's his first game. There could be a little bit of nerves, which are greatly highlighted by load time, so...
Well, I mean, something like queen d5 is also very solid here.
Yeah.
That win by John was huge for our team. For him to beat one of their top players, that was a really big start.
Especially for morale. Not even beat, he just absolutely crushed him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for Sid to play a little faster here.
Yeah, I don't think that there are too many, like... So, first of all, it's a lot easier for us to talk about the game and, like, suggest good moves for Sid, because we don't have nearly as much pressure, and Sid's definitely feeling it right now. So that,
Yeah, he
I'm
is
sure-
feeling it. Yeah.
I'm sure taking on c4 was most likely a better move, but it's hard to see stuff like that in the game. Just because, like, your mind is just going through so many things right now. h3 is just a very safe move. Sid wants to get in his rook d7, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't lose randomly to some kind of back rank threat.
Yeah, it's a nice move. I mean, he controls the g4 square and takes it away from Black's queen, and he he frees his back rank. So it's a good move for sure.
Yeah.
Here I like rook d7 with the threat of rook takes f7. Well, or he could play like queen d5 here too.
Rook takes f7, I think, yeah.
Or no,
rook
actually,
d5 's
queen
also-
d5 lost to rook d6, doesn't it? Because you take on e6 and takes on d1. So it's good he played rook e5. Sid's a very strong tactician.
Wait, what was wrong with... Oh, queen. Yeah, queen
Oh.
d5 wasn't... Yeah, possible.
Dreyev drew, and that's fine because we're doing very well in the other games. Although Sam's position is still very complicated.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on.
And there's still a lot going on.
Yeah. b6 was a nice tactical move. And, like, what makes it, like, even more chaotic is that they both have 40 seconds on the clock.
Sam threatens mate, so probably rook g1 will be played, but rook g1 maybe rook a1.
Yeah.
He's got to be careful. So, but g3,
Oh, g3. G3 is nuts.
that's a very weakening move.
Yeah. You have to be insane to play a move like that.
But Sam is going to have to blitz this one out. They both are.
Bishop h3.
D1 is playing.
I'm not sure what he was trying to provoke there. I think that Sam, maybe even like an f5 move would be interesting. Because, like, opening stuff up never hurts when you have bishop pair and his king is weak. So, just fundamentally it could work. Sid looks like he's got a grind on his hands. Doesn't look very... I mean, I think it's actually not very difficult.
No,
I
it's
think
not
most-
easy because Black Black has solidified the pawns on the queen side, so it's not easy at all.
Yeah, I think the hardest part of this is doing it within 90 seconds. I think in a classical game, Siddharth would convert this against even the women's world champion like almost 100% of the time because his king has a very safe square on h2, and that's super important. h5, that's questionable. Because his king wasn't in any particular danger from h4. But from black playing h4 might not have been a great response. Tana is playing very well. She has a fortress. Some of these moves I cannot 100% agree with. Tana's playing very well. She's really stopping all of White's ideas right now. And she's also threatening stuff like bishop e1. I was thinking queen d3 was a very good idea because it threatens bishop h6 as well as d6. And e4. Yeah, okay. So forcing the queen to f6 is a really good step for Sid. He should probably play something like king g2 to disallow white and black's queen from being active again. Queen e4 is also interesting because... Okay, now they're just playing. Queen
so
c6.
Sam's gotten an end game, even material.
Sam's worse.
Oh no, he's down a pawn, but wait, can he play for mate? Bishop c5? Interesting. I think Sam's fighting for a draw.
Yeah, me too.
One White's trying to win. Feels like should be a draw.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with taking in g3. They're most likely going to trade off all the pawns, and then it's going to simmer down.
Yeah, this looks like a draw.
Yeah.
So Sid's game is going to be very important.
Looks like Sid's game is also going to be... Oh, Sid got his king to g2, and he's getting queen c6. Black can't trade.
He's making some progress, yeah.
Yeah, bishop g5 now. Trying to get
but Black's blockade is still very strong.
I think he's trying to get him bishop c7 to get d6, d7, queen.
So he can move the pawn, exactly. Yeah. Sid's a very good fast player. Well, if he can... We're up a game, right? So we're playing with house money this round.
He's got to play bishop d4, bishop
d4,
right
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, bishop d4, bishop f6 looks really strong right now.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, it looks like maybe Black has to play f6. But here maybe queen e6 sometimes.
Yeah, if queen e6 works... I think Sid's getting his king around. Just because he wants to prepare for the bishop endgame.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, a little disappointing to only get 1 out of 2 on the top 2 boards, because that's where we're supposed to be very strong this match.
That's true.
But, you know, their players are strong, so it's not that easy for us. Wow, bishop takes a5.
Sid's seeing some good stuff.
He's a good player.
Yeah,
bishop
this check and
D2,
takes. The bishop's hanging right now. Bishop d2 is going to be... Bishop d2, bishop b4, bishop queen c1 works. So that could be Sid's way out.
It's very hard for the black bishop to move, because then black's king is open. See, the black king is very open here. Sid can give some checks and
queen
gain
e6,
time.
d6 is very dangerous right now. d6
Wow,
immediately
yeah,
also
d6.
works, because queen d5 is check.
Yeah, good point.
It looks like Sid's going to convert this, actually.
This would be excellent for us.
Winning on their bottom 2 boards against their top 2 boards.
This would really be excellent.
They don't see what's coming. Tan's realizing that... Oh, d7. Yeah, queen d7?
Is there a win, though, is the question.
Oh, he's getting to e8 and playing d7, d8.
But is there some chance for perpetual for black?
Black's got to play something like e3, I think.
But why not just queen d3? Like, how does the white king escape? See, I'm not so sure.
Yeah,
but okay, draw is okay. Maybe he should make the draw.
I think he's got to reverse all the way back. I think he's going to go for the draw because in too little time.
Well, maybe he could make a queen trade on c4.
I think it's 3 moves right now.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a nice move. But just king h7, yeah.
7, though.
It was superficial.
Yeah.
Might not have been a great move, though. It looked good. Ooh, I don't know.
Still,
about
it's
that
still,
one.
still a perpetual.
Yeah, it's still a
And I
perpetual,
think
yeah.
he should make it now.
All right, so it looks like first round.
That's okay. That's
yeah,
okay.
That's fine for us.
Yeah.
We underperformed a little bit on the top 2 boards.
Yeah.
But Sid's clearly showing to be a very strong player. He controlled the game all the way through. He got a little bit low in time, couldn't convert, which is perfectly fine because he got a half point against the strongest player on their team. And considering he was like a 400-point underdog, it's a very great result for him. And it shows that he can play well, even though this is his first round. And this is his first time playing for us, this entire league. And he is a clear underdog, shows that he's a very strong player still. So that's a very good sign for us right now. And John just killed Anton. We expect great things from John. He's a very strong tactical player, and his style matches this time control like perfectly.
All right. Well, if our sponsor, Dr. Udo Hergis, would like to join us, now would be a great time. Maybe I can add him to the call.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's see if I can do that.
So the next round's gonna start pretty soon.
Hello, Udo.
Hello.
Hi, Keaton.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. Exciting first round again.
Very exciting.
I like the combination on board 3, the sacrifice on f6 and e6.
Amazing. Yeah, great.
This
play
is
by
exactly why this league is so attractive for normal people. There's action.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't have to wait for 1 hour.
Big improvement over the U.S. Chess League, which was a lot slower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there has to be some action for normal people, for lay people, for normal chess players to really follow the game. And I hope we're going to attract more viewers in the future.
Mm-hmm. I think that.
And 2.5 points. 2.5 points is
Yeah, it was a
good
good
for
first
the
round for us. Yeah,
Mhm.
we got 2.5.
Absolutely, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, I noticed that this time the strategy is different, that you want to have points on board 1 and 2 mainly, yeah?
Yeah, we want to, but only 1 out of 2. Those guys played us tough on the top 2 boards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we better get it done, this one. We have 2 match balls to get to the playoffs, and
That's right.
let's do it tonight. Let's not wait till the
Absolutely.
next round.
We don't need a thrill next week.
Please not. No, let's do it tonight. And it's great to watch the San Diego Surfers. My company is very proud to work with you and the San Diego Surfers. We don't have these superstars on board 1 like Seattle or with Nakamura or Magnus.
We don't have Nakamura
Norway.
or Carlsen.
Yes, but these teams might not make it to the playoffs even. So really the strength is to have a balanced team of very talented players like the San Diego Surfers.
Well, Nakamura and Carlsen only count for 1/4 of their team's points. So it's really not about the star power. It's about having a good balanced team.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yet I believe it's important to have these big names in the league because they again attract viewers.
Seems like John's game didn't start.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out.
Oh, we're already in the next round? That's
Yeah.
a very short break here.
Yeah, we had a really long game with Sid and Tan Zhongyi, so things.
Yeah,
just
he looked so good,
seemed to
Sid.
speed up.
Yeah, pity that he couldn't convert.
Yeah.
He was very close. I mean, he was outrated by 400 points, and he almost won that game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They must be very keen beating him, yeah. But let's follow the games and maybe we talk in the next intermezzo if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's follow the games.
All right, so
John's game
right now
just
we have a pretty like standard Drev game in Drev's game. Seems like a Nimzo where Drev is playing very slowly. He's just like he's trying to control the position. He's defending c4. He's kicking the bishop. He's trying to get all the pieces on the board, keep all the pieces on the board, and keep like a very solid structure. While Black's trying to like have something, trade off some pawns to get equality. And I mean it's just like pretty standard like Drev stuff. It's just going to be a positional game, and we're going to see. It usually arises like a hanging pawn structure or an IQP structure, more likely than not hanging pawn, or more likely than not IQP, I mean, after c5 and d5, and that's just going to be like a pretty regular positional game, and we're going to see how Drev plays it. I have no idea what's going on in Samuel's game. I don't play e4 or Sicilian, so...
Sveshnikov, it looks like, or Najdorf. Or I mean, not
Yeah,
Sveshnikov, Cheveningen.
You're the expert on the Sicilian, right?
Sicilian, yeah. Yeah.
You play
it looks
all
like
variations?
I'm sorry?
You play all different variations in Sicilian? Khan, Najdorf, everything?
Not
Dragon?
Najdorf. I played the Khan, not really the Khan either, more a Paulsen. Also the Dragon, and sometimes the Cheveningen, which Black is playing here.
Okay. So you mix it up sometimes. You have to, I guess.
Well, you got to, otherwise people prepare deeply for you, you know?
Yeah. Then you're not playing against your opponent, but against some grandmaster suddenly.
Well, maybe even not grandmasters, maybe, computers who are 3,200 strength.
Yeah, you never know.
That's
So,
right.
yeah,
So
Sid's
what's
game
with
is-
Sport 3?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with board 3 right now. I don't. Oh, okay, my bad. I just didn't have the game going on yet. The game's
Oh,
a little
yeah,
delayed,
John's
so,
game
yeah.
started late.
Sid's game is super, super sharp, but according to a source, Craig Hilby, Queen G7 was supposed to be the move played before Bishop takes F3. He's already relieved a lot of pressure with Bishop takes F3, so it looks like it could be a little questionable for Black right now. He's thrown in a lot of pawns without that much to show for it. As Craig said in the chat, if you play these kinds of sharp lines, you need to know all the lines, because Knight D2 seems to be a very pretty normal move, and you need to know Queen G7 in that position. If you don't,
Right.
you're gonna run into a lot of trouble. So.
Now, I've already noticed that in this game and the previous game, Sid declined queen trades, so it seems like he's not the biggest fan of trading queens.
Yeah, endgames are hard.
They are.
Yeah.
So Alexei has some sort of Benoni structure, yeah?
Yeah,
Where
exactly.
the black bishop is on the wrong square.
It looks like a good Benoni because he's managed to trade
Yeah.
off the light square bishops.
Yeah.
So it looks like a very good Benoni. And at least Anton Smirnov is thinking, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, I think trading off light squared bishops is not always the worst thing in Benoni, just because Black always has space issues, and getting rid of like a piece is never like terrible. It's not like a benefit for Black, but it's not really like negative either. I think the biggest problem with Black's position right now is his bishops on e7 that clogs up most of his position. His queen can't go there. You don't have the e file, and it would much rather be on g7 in this position. So I think that Drev does have a better position right now.
But why did he allow b5? I would have played a4 immediately.
Yeah, I don't entirely know. I think that maybe Drev thinks that he can play a5 here, and then with the resulting b4, he can, or he's just going straight for e5.
b5, here we go.
Yeah, he's just going straight for e5.
And then he answered with bishop f4. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sid's position is a bit uncomfortable after White's queen f5. The queen seems pretty annoying on that square.
Yeah.
There's going to be some pressure on the e5 and g5 pawns, and Black is a bit underdeveloped.
Yeah. And f6 sometimes just feels bad to play.
Yeah, for sure. You weaken e6.
But in this particular scenario, I don't know how awful it would be to play f6 right now.
Yeah, I don't really see, anything that detrimental. All right, he played bishop e7. I would
Knight
expect
h6.
White to play knight f3 or knight c4, probably.
Yeah. I think the bishop doesn't belong there. It's probably got to go to d6 because I think the knight belongs on e7. So I think this might have been like a pretty poor ordering of moves by Sid, or pretty poor planning. Because I think the knight's got to go there to kick the queen. I think it's just the best square.
Now, John Bryant has a pretty off-balance game with Tang Zhongyi because he has the 2 bishops and also opposite side castling.
Yeah, it's pretty dynamic right now. He's got ideas just shoving on the queen side. C5 should come in the future, not right now because it doesn't work tactically, but that should be Black's idea. Like basically, like he's gonna play bishop e7, c5 if White doesn't trade right now, and then he's gonna have a pretty strong attack on the queen side. So I think he's got good chances right now. It's just still a game so far, so we'll see what happens. Sid's gotta play f6 here. I'm not sure if he's got options.
Yeah, f6, and I was thinking White's probably going to play fast d4 and try to really open it up. But then maybe you can play knight h6, and then if queen e6, you can play queen f7, and if the queen takes, you can take back with the knight, and you're kind of holding everything in the center. So yeah, f6 seems playable here.
Yeah, it seems like it barely holds together. I like that idea, actually. The resulting endgame is not great for Black, but I mean, it's holdable, so.
Yeah, well, but also kind of like you said, what else? So
Yeah.
it seems like it just has to be played.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the knight moving to f3 is also like kind of a concession by White because it means that if Black plays f6 and h6, he's gonna have to trade queens. So, because then the queen can't go back to f3 anymore. What do you think is going on with Sam's game so far? Because
Looks like a pretty normal Scheveningen position. It's hard to say. I mean, often Black has pretty good chances in the endgame, you know, with the open C file. But the danger for Black is that sometimes he can get under attack on the king side, and it looks like Sam has his pieces in good position for attacking. Needs to try something dynamic here.
Yeah, that's true. So there's some weird stuff going on in Drev's game, and that usually when Black plays knight h5, it's usually followed up with like a g6. In this particular position, a g6 is like a good idea because he wants to get his bishop in the long diagonal. But when the bishop was on f8, both the bishop and the knight were fighting for the g7 square. So playing bishop g5 might have helped out Black a little bit, but I guess if Black plays g6, he's just looking to play e5 immediately.
Now, one thing that concerns me a little bit, guys, is Tan Zhongyi is playing very fast. That makes me think that she might be in preparation here, which is never a good thing to be playing against preparation at this point in the game.
Yeah, especially in this kind of position. It's very scary. This rook e5 idea is not normal because the rook can usually get trapped in the middle of the board with that kind of stuff, but John Bryant's pieces aren't placed correctly to do something like that, and then g5 is looking to be a very scary prospect.
Very double-edged position. But it would be a relief to see her slow down and think a little bit here.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, but no such luck. She just played g5. White's playing very aggressive this game. And why not? You know, all the black pieces are on the queen side, so it's a good position for playing aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sid's game is going the way that we thought. But interesting, he played queen e6 and advanced, did Smirnov. Now, if I were Sid, I would play queen f7 because I think black certainly wants the endgame here.
Or he could play knight h6 first because I think he wants his knight on f7 rather than his king.
Yeah, that might be a good point. Yeah, maybe knight h6 first could be played.
Yeah.
The time situation in that game concerns me a little bit.
The only problem with knight h7, knight h6 first is that white is looking to play. Actually, do you think queen b3 looks a little greedy just because white's king still isn't perfect after something like g4? So.
Yeah, I mean, white has to be careful. White
Yeah.
can get burned on the king side.
But I think, like, concretely, knight h6, queen b3,
Eight.
d6, queen a4 would have been bad.
What do you think of this rook d8?
I don't see what it does.
Me neither, because you never really want to play rook d6 because rook d6 always queen c8. So
Yeah.
and you take away your option of castling. Yeah, I'm not crazy about Black's play so far in this game.
Yeah, White's main idea right now, I think, is to play something like queen b3, and then after b6, queen a4 or queen c4.
Poke holes
and
and pawns.
Yeah, he's gonna start doing bad stuff, and
Yeah, I
rook
don't
d8
know.
just
I
wouldn't
would
be
have
much better.
I would have preferred either queen f7 or knight h6 probably to rook
Yeah.
d8.
Mhm.
Oh, now Dreyev has played e5, a very committal move. He's going for it.
Queen f5 now? I don't know. d6 probably? Or even knight e4 is interesting, because
So he sacrificed a pawn. Multhan Lee is playing quite fast.
yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's going on in the position.
Feels like he has to play d6, doesn't it?
I mean, he's got d6. He could also play knight e4 first. There's also
Yeah, maybe that's what he was thinking about.
He could also play maybe even like a4. Trying to provoke b4 and then knight e4. So that black can't respond with c4.
Okay, he
first,
played
first
d6.
That's straightforward, yeah.
Here it looks like rook e6 has to be played, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think rook d6 is the best.
And then maybe he's going to play knight e4, or what do you think?
Knight e4, and then, I mean, c4 is just going to be the most expected move. And I don't know, because knight e4, c4, knight c5 doesn't work tactically. So I don't really see an alternative to knight e4 right now, so.
You know, unfortunately, it feels like John is very close to getting mated. What if knight f7 right here?
I mean, bishop takes c4, bishop.
Oh, you get the g6 pawn.
Yeah.
Okay. So bishop b7 was like a forced move, pretty much.
Yeah.
But he is still in the end game down a pawn.
He's still in a very bad spot right now.
Yeah, because what if white just plays some for prophylaxis, like f3 or
Yeah.
something like?
Like an f3. Or just take a pawn.
Wow, she has played fast and strong this game.
Yeah, bishop c4 is not a threat as well.
My
Knight
goodness.
b6 has to be played.
Oh, this is brutal.
And then like knight e6 even. Knight e6,
2
rook
pawns
h7.
extra.
Depends
Well, no,
pretty-
Smirnov, he played king h1.
Smirnov? He's
I
playing
wonder
too
what-
slow. I can't.
I don't see why the king's any better on h1.
I think he's scared of he was probably scared of g4. And then in this case, g4, he can just move his knight to h4.
That's true, yeah.
I think Sid can just play queen f7 here and he's pretty happy.
Now, Udo, are you still there?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
listening.
you've
and
been very
watching.
quiet.
I don't want to disturb the experts.
Oh, no, we're glad. You're only on here for so long, so definitely gotta let the viewers get to know you a little bit. At some point, we certainly want to hear about your company.
Definitely.
Sure, I think that's a good idea, yeah.
Now, remind us, where in Germany do you come from, Udo?
I grew up in northern Germany, in Hanover.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I joined my first chess club and played chess for many, many years. And
Very cool.
then I spent some time in London and I played there for a university team.
It's great.
Well, the
And,
surfers just appreciate so much what you're doing for our team, Udo.
Yeah.
It means a lot to
No,
us.
I mean it's great that we can work with you. I mean, as you said before, the San Diego Surfers are a very solid team. You are undefeated apart from one playoff game.
That's right.
This is extremely impressive.
Yeah. Even in Super Saturdays.
Yes, that's great.
Man, this Multhan Lee is so solid. It feels like maybe he has the better position against I'm
I'm not too sold on better yet.
At least a comfortable position.
Yeah, I think he's doing very well though.
He also has a time advantage.
An interesting idea for that could like possibly happen right now is rook takes e5, knight f6, knight takes f6, rook takes d1, rook e8.
Mm-hmm.
And the resulting endgame is very...
Two rooks for a queen.
Yeah. I don't really know the evaluation for that. We've actually seen Dreyev get into a lot of those recently.
Yeah, well, because I suppose after everything trades on e8, there's queen c6, which would pick up the a6 pawn, right?
Yeah, if he didn't get that, he'd definitely be in a pretty bad spot, but he's going to get the a6 pawn, and I think it's like just pretty...
Maybe close to
kind
e.
of stuff, yeah. And also, another threat that rook takes e6 has is that if Molthon plays something like rook c8, for example, he could also play rook e8 and just trade off rooks and relieve some of the pressure on the d-file.
Well, what's the alternative? Maybe something like knight e3 or knight c3, just kind of like trade a pair of rooks and occupy the file and try to get some major piece pressure while that knight's stuck on h5.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, it just feels a little odd to just not take the pawn on e5 right now.
And now we have an interesting imbalance in Sam's game, knight versus bishop. I still feel like Sam has some attacking chances, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just a little... I think it's a little difficult to attack right now because he doesn't have enough minor pieces. Like, he doesn't... I think he's got to have some knights on h5, that kind of stuff, if he really wants to attack, because he can never really trade on h4, and trying to attack f7, it's sometimes... I mean, trying to attack h7 will sometimes feel like hitting a brick wall, and black's going to get some counterplay in soon because d5 is pretty weak. The bishop can be traded off with something like knight c5, and rook e8 comes in. He's definitely has attacking chances, but I think over time black's got an upper edge in the long game.
No, unfortunately, John is completely lost. He's down a piece, and basically he just got out prepared this game.
Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, White was playing such obscure ideas so fast that it had to be preparation.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's just like feast or famine. You know the moves you're going to win. If you don't know the moves, things are going to go badly for you.
That's right. Oh, so what did Dreyev? Oh, he did play rook e5, knight f6, this variation that we were talking about. Yeah. So does he have anything better than taking the knight here is the question.
I mean, he still has rook e8, I think.
Well, rook e8, knight takes.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, my bad.
I guess black's not really threatening to take yet, but he might be threatening stuff like rook c8 that's pretty annoying. So it kind of feels like maybe you have to take on f6.
Yeah, that's true. I think the endgame is perfectly fine for him, so I don't see anything wrong with it.
But I guess he's fighting for a draw.
Sid's made a mistake. He didn't see rook c8, queen c8, which is, I mean, it's pretty hard to see.
Well, did he not see it, or is he going for something on the king side?
Okay, I mean, there's probably like no way you would allow something like that to happen. Even if you're going for something on the king side, I don't think you really need to give up b7 for that. Because b7 falls every pawn on the queen side, so I think that was probably just like an overlook. He's got to play something like g4 here, but that gets met by like knight h4, and your attack isn't great.
Oh my gosh, he's castled king side. We're in some real trouble on our bottom two boards here, so we need our GMs to come up big for us this round. Otherwise, this is going to be a tough round.
And our GM, our top board, isn't doing great either because, well, his position is pretty solid. It's just like queen against two rooks. It's pretty equal, but he has 2 minutes 50 seconds on the clock, and it's pretty hard to convert. This kind of a difficult endgame with only that little time on your clock. Especially against Molthon's 8. It's going to G8. Sit.
No, White can't win this ending.
Yeah,
occasionally, Kramnik wins these positions for the two rooks, but still it takes just incredible technique to do that. So more than likely, it's a draw.
Yeah.
We definitely need Sam to come up big this game.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you still never know what's gonna go on with John Bryant's game. He's a pretty tricky player.
That's a very good point. You can never count John Bryant out.
I mean, like the last two moves, he's been out playing 10, so you never.
I guess
know.
that knight is still kind of stuck on f7.
Yeah. I think 10 was just like, I think she thought that she was winning, and then she started playing too fast. Yeah, Sid's starting to fall apart a little bit. Can't trade queens. He didn't even take the queen trade. That's a little rude.
No, he's lost.
Yeah. What's John going for now? John was originally going for bishop takes e4, rook d2, but that just definitely didn't work because the only reason 10 would play a4 is to get in rook b5. It didn't work before because bishop takes e4 was a check, take the free rook, but now it does, and now it's a very dangerous threat. Or not threat, it kind of just shuts down the b file. So I think John Bryant's chances are just slowly fizzling out. Sam doesn't have too many chances either. He got in queen h3, but it's pretty hard to attack from then on. Black's got some positional counterplay. Because if the center is open, it's really hard to attack on the sides, especially if you have no minor pieces. So if he trades off everything, gets in knight on e5, I think Black has a slightly better position. But we really need something to come out of Sam. And he's playing the worst player on their team. And that player also only has 3 minutes on the clock, so we could see Sam trying to pull off some stuff.
Well, he's going for it right now. He's just
Yeah.
played rook g3, threatening queen h6. So, oh, Albert, you went offline.
Oh, I see. I idled. All right, I'll be right back in probably like 30 seconds, but it'll happen. Our favorite feature.
Okay, John lost too. So, very bad start to this round. Hopefully we can get some points on the top 2 boards.
Yeah. So we have 2 losses so far.
Yeah, we have 2 losses so far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dreyev drew, which is fine. We need Sam to win this game, and then the match will be even.
Yeah, I don't think Dreyev's playing spicy enough.
Oh wow, I feel like Sam just mated the guy.
Yeah, he just missed queen takes h6, intermediate move. Because like there are like 2 moves that look kind of good for Black, in that he could play takes f4, e4. E4 looked a little bit better because it kills the bishop, but both of them are met by queen takes h6. That has to be dealt with immediately, and he just didn't deal with it. So
I'll be right back, guys.
yeah, I think Black had to play king h8 in the position, or at least something like that, and blunder. I mean, we'll take it. I don't see a way he can stop forced mate right now. So, free point. Looks like the match is going to be tight after this, 4-4. 2.5. We got 2.5 the first round, 1.5 the second round. I mean, it was a pretty quick match. Didn't do too well on the first couple of boards. We had some questionable play by Sid out of the opening because it's a very sharp line, and sometimes if you like forget your preparation, or if you don't prepare for a specific line, you're going to go off the wrong track, and then things get very messy very quickly. John Dan Bryant also got out-prepared in a very sharp line, and if you get out-prepared in the sharp line, it has like nothing to do with your chess skill. They did their homework better. And you're just going to lose because it's feast or famine, whoever knows more lines. Drev's game, it fills it out pretty quickly because too many things traded off in the center. And Samuel's opponent just blundered mate, so. All in all, it was 1.5, 2.5 for us, or for them, or for us, yeah, 1.5, 2.5. But it was a kind of a lucky round because Sam's position wasn't looking like especially like winning until his opponent blundered weight. So hopefully next round we can come back and have some revitalization on the bottom two boards and have Drev start playing more like what he's used to, because he's definitely one of the top performers in the entire league. As you can see in all of their like charts, they have their top players who's in the top 10, because he is definitely one of the strongest players in the league. So we're going to hope to try to see that in his next couple of games. So round 3, round 4 are very close in that there are pretty much no upsets because everyone's playing very similar people. So we should see very interesting games in the last 2 rounds. And we have a really long break right now. So, Udo, if you really want to say anything. Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah, I'm back, Albert. So, Udo, please tell us a little bit about Hergest Capital Management.
Sure. Hergest Capital Management is a San Diego-based independent investment advisor. So that means we manage retirement accounts and we manage individual wealth accounts. And we do it in a very, unlike the big banks, we do it in a very cost-efficient way. Our big difference is that we avoid buying any mutual funds. So that's a big cost saver, because these mutual funds are very fee-intensive and tax inefficient. So we buy directly stocks, individual stocks and individual bonds. This is the big difference to many other investment advisors, especially the big banks. And we have some chess players as clients, but we hope that we get more chess players as clients in the future, even especially through the sponsorship for the San Diego Surfers now.
Well, chess players are known to be smart people, and I think it would be a smart decision to invest with Hergest Capital Management.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you very much. I know that very well. I mean, I have many years of experience, and I saw many people getting really ripped off by big banks with high fees, intransparent fees, and this is something that I try to change, being more transparent, more fair, and much more cost efficient than the others. That's our big distinguishment.
Outstanding.
Thank you. We really appreciate your support for the team and all you've done for us. And I think that a large portion of our success has to be attributed to you. So we really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you
so much.
And get it done tonight, yes?
Yes.
Now board 1 has to deliver.
Yeah, oh, he will. He's waking up. Don't worry.
Yes, good luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Udo.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
So, yeah, the thing about Drev is that he lives in Russia, I believe. So this is very early in the morning for him. So he usually like wakes up and becomes a monster in the later rounds and just starts performing.
He will.
Yeah.
He will. Yeah.
He always performs when time's right.
And I think Sid will play better too than he did in that game. He played very well in round 1, and I think that game he was just a little bit off guard. But I think he's ready to play well too, and I think John will also be looking to bounce back.
Yeah.
So Albert, you need to get going, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I think what we should do is go off, and then I'll relaunch the stream in less than 10 minutes to start the 3rd round, and I'll be joined by Craig Hilby. So there will be a brief break, but we'll be back with action when the 3rd round begins.
Yep. All right.
Thanks, Albert.
Yep. Thank you.
See you.